Paradise, or heaven, is hard to explain. Even for a jinn like myself, I lack the words to explain it to you. I will not try. You are free to imagine whatever wonders you like about the place. I can tell you that whatever mortal fantasies you have about paradise doesn't even come close to what the reality of it is. There are many beings in paradise, all of whom were created by the hands of Allah, or God, in whatever name or language that you call him. Some were made from water, others, like men, from clay. But I was made from a fire that has no smoke. We were superior. The most superior among us was Iblis. He was magnificent. He was massive. Most of all, he was beautiful. He was made of the darkest parts of the fire. His flame was bright. His voice was deeper than the pits of hell, yet more soothing than waters from the well of Zamzam. I loved Iblis. I loved him then, and even though I now see him as a fool, I still love him. How could one not love the most beautiful creature God has ever made? Many religions speak of Iblis. Of course, he has different names. The Christians call him an angel of light, the most beautiful among all the angels. They named him Lucifer. That is a ridiculous name, but his beauty and magnificence are shared among all cultures. Iblis, as magnificent as he was, fell victim to the most mortal of fallacies. He was arrogant. I remember it as if I were just there. One of the curses of being a jinn. We remember all things, no matter how long ago it was. The horn was sounded, calling all of us to attend to our Creator. He had created something new. The Creator, in his love for all of us, wanted to share it with us. My heart raced in my chest as I ran to the great hall. This hall was massive. It could seat the whole of the universe in it and still have room. I saw Iblis as I hurried to see this wonder our Creator would reveal. "Iblis, the most beautiful of Allah's creations, why do you frown?" I asked him. Beautiful Iblis's frown deepened as he looked at me. My heart fluttered, for even his frown was more beautiful than the brightest star. "Oh, beloved Andrid, Allah has created something better than us. But I am unsure how anything can be better than us," Iblis said. I grabbed Iblis's beautiful fiery hand and kissed him. It was a kiss of pure love. There was no such thing as lust or sexuality in paradise. There was no need. Those desires were of mortal men. They were sinful. My kiss was that of a child kissing the newborn sibling or a parent kissing his infant child. "What can be created that is more beautiful than you, Iblis?" I asked. Iblis smiled and placed his hand on my cheek. If I had a heart, his smile would have melted it. Maybe it was at this moment that I betrayed Allah. The moment that I doubted that Allah could make anything more beautiful than Iblis. That moment defined my life, it seemed. The first seed of doubt, the first shred of arrogance had entered my mind. "Stay by me during this, Andrid?" Iblis asked. Who was I but a creature in love with his brother and could not deny him? "Of course, beloved," I responded. Iblis squeezed my hand and ran off to see what new creation our Lord had made. All of the creatures of heaven entered the great hall. There were more of us than there were stars in the sky. We all segregated ourselves among our races, if you will. Us jinns of smokeless fire huddled together. There was no racial tension here. We all loved each other. There is always a comfort and a kinship in being near those created from the same fabric as you. Iblis was our leader. Those made of other things felt the same as we did. We all talked in excited, hushed tones. It had been a long time since Allah had created something new. The rumour was that this creation was better than all others. I could see the stress and worry on the face of beautiful Iblis. I did not understand why did he not celebrate this amazing new creation of our Lord, this new addition to paradise. The excitement to get to know and interact with this new creation filled everyone's hearts, except that of Iblis, the most beautiful creature created thus far. The great hall got silent as we felt our Lord. We could not see him, he was so bright. If you imagine the sun and multiply it to a number that you can't fathom, even that does not come close to how magnificent and bright our Creator is. We shielded our eyes and prostrated ourselves before him. We lay flat with our heads on the floor. We felt our Lord smile as he looked at us, pleased. His smile made us all weep. Even the beautiful Iblis wept. He lay prostrated, sobbing, to our Lord. "Rise, my creations," our Lord said. His voice was everywhere and nowhere. It filled every inch of the universe and of us. We all rose and stared at a ball of light that floated in the centre of the great hall. My heart raced. Within that light was the new creation. It was the most beautiful creation of all. The light slowly faded away, and before us was a creature whose skin was dark. Dark like the clay you would find in the deepest parts of the earth. He was indeed beautiful. His hair was black as night and thick as a sheep's wool. His eyes were white orbs with a circle of black in them. He was tall and majestic-looking. He was amazing. I caught my breath as I saw him. Iblis turned to me with what looked like rage in his eyes. I cannot be certain, because back then none of us had ever felt or seen this emotion. It burned brighter than the fire that was his body. He shook with rage and disgust. "This, Angrid, is what is supposed to be better than us? More beautiful than me?" Iblis hissed as he pointed to Allah's new creation. I cannot lie. I was afraid. No one had ever questioned our Lord before. No one has ever felt nor seen what I saw and felt with Iblis. This is man. I name him Adam. He was created from the darkest clay in the deepest parts of the earth. He will be the master of my gardens. The voice of God spoke again. This black lump of clay is granted his own garden, his own kingdom among paradise. Iblis fumed. Other jinns started to look at him. Iblis's voice was slowly starting to rise as his rage grew. I give to man something I have never given any of my creations. I give him my breath. The voice of God rang again. The empty, beautiful, black-skinned shell that was Adam floated a bit higher. His mouth opened, and his chest started to expand. He seemed to glow with power and the love of our Lord. His cold, lifeless eyes brightened with life. Adam blinked. He took big, deep breaths. We could all hear him inhale and exhale. Adam looked upon the bright light that was God and smiled. "Thank you, O Lord," Adam said. His voice was deep and musical. I was in awe of this creation that got the breath of God in him, this creation that would be granted all the mercies that we were denied, this beautiful Adam that was favoured above all. Iblis clenched his fist as he watched Adam. If Iblis could, I had no doubt he would have killed Adam right there. "Adam possesses my breath. All of my other creations must bow before him," the voice of God boomed. All of the countless creations of Allah fell to their knees and bowed their heads to Adam. Adam stared blankly at us like the fool he was. I have always thought Adam a fool. How could you get the greatest gift from God and still disobey? A gift that any of us would give our lives for. We would gladly die just for the scent of our Lord's breath, but not the arrogant Adam. Forgive me. Let me get back to the story. All bowed before Adam, but Iblis. He stared at Adam, death in his gaze. He knew he was defying his Lord, his Creator, most of all his Master. But his jealousy and rage would not let him care about that. Iblis grit his teeth. His chest heaved as he struggled to control himself. I was afraid as I bowed, Iblis standing right next to me. I reached my hand out to grab his and calm him, but he batted it away. "Why don't you bow, Iblis?" God asked his creation. I was shocked, for Allah had never individually called us out. I was not sure he knew all of our names. As I bowed, I became aware that God loved me so much that he was aware of every detail of me. He was the sculptor that loved each work of art he created. He knew every nook and cranny of me. If I had hair, he would know the exact number of hair on my body and the state of each of those hairs. The love of our Creator was endless. "Why, O Lord, should I bow to something that is inferior to me? I am smokeless fire and the most beautiful of your creations." Iblis paused. His voice was cracked with emotion as he shouted at Allah. His tears sizzled and hissed as they fell down his fiery cheeks. This thing you call a man is made of clay, yet you give him your breath!" Iblis shouted. Iblis took a deep, shuddering breath. The whole of the great hall was afraid. For never had anyone talked to the Creator in that manner. No one had ever dared to question him, nor had the thought ever entered their minds. We were created to serve, and we were happy to serve. "Am I not the most beautiful of your creations, Lord? Am I not the most beautiful of your creations, Lord? Am I not good enough?" Iblis spluttered in between sobs. The great hall was silent as all waited to see what the Creator would do. The silence seemed to last forever. "Bow, Iblis," the voice of God boomed again. Iblis forced himself to stop sobbing. It was clear that our Creator had forgiven Iblis for his outburst and emotion. All he had to do was bow to Adam, and all would be back to normal. Bow, beloved, I pleaded with Iblis. Iblis looked down at me and smiled. I cannot, dear Angrid. He replied, even to this day, countless eons after this, I don't understand why Iblis chose this path. O Lord and Creator of everything, I cannot obey you in this. I cannot bow to this thing made of clay, Iblis said defiantly. The hate for Adam burned in his eyes, yet sorrow was there too. It hurt Iblis to disobey the Creator. Iblis, like all of us, loved the Creator with all we had. Iblis turned to the jinns of smokeless fire. Stand, brothers, for we are better than this black clay thing our Lord created. Stand with me in defiance of this creation, Iblis said. He raised his hands in the air, motioning for us to stand. Iblis, the most beautiful and most magnificent of all the jinn. Many of the jinn of smokeless fire obeyed him and stood. I did not. How could I? I thought Adam was beautiful. He was an amazing creature, one that did indeed rival Iblis. Iblis turned and saw me still bowing. I could see his heart breaking as I did not stand. Oh, beloved, sweet Angrid, I thought you loved me, Iblis said. Emotions I have never felt before filled me. I don't know why, but slowly I stood. Maybe it was because I wanted to see the beautiful smile of Iblis's again. For him to cup my cheek like he often did. I did not want him to think that I did not love him. I do, beloved, I replied. Suddenly, I felt cold. The fire that was our essence lost its brightness. We still burned with living flame, but we looked dark compared to the brightness of the other jinns that bowed. The floor beneath us gave way, and we started to fall. We had been banished from heaven. Our Lord has turned his back on us. Your creation that you call man shall never live in peace, Lord. This I promise you, Iblis shouted as he fell. Iblis has hated humans ever since. He has dedicated his entire existence to whispering to their desires and turning them away from the mercies that Allah has given them. I, in my love for the great and beautiful Iblis, found myself here, falling like thousands of other jinn of smokeless flame. We were the rebellious ones. We disobeyed our Creator. There is nothing more pathetic than one that turns his back on the one that created him. Time seemed to freeze as well. The only sound aside the screams of rage from Iblis were the rapid beatings of my terrified heart. I, for the first time in my life, feared death. For now, outside of the gardens of paradise, death was a cold reality that never before was. The wind was sharp and seemed to cut me as I fell. I curse you and your creation, Allah! I heard Iblis howl. Iblis seemed to fall faster than the rest of us. It seemed as if he was being pulled down roughly from the heavens. My eyes watered as I looked at the blue ball that we were falling to. The darkness of space seemed endless around us. I knew this blue ball to be Earth. It was one of the many creations of our Lord. Like all things he had created, it was beautiful. I heard that this earth was created for Adam and all who would descend from him. Yet this is where we fell. It did not take long for the darkness of space to fade and the cold air of Earth to hit us. I could see the dark blue waters that we were headed for. The waters seemed menacing, like they would engulf us all. Like rocks falling from the sky, the thousands of jinn of smokeless fire hit the ocean surface. Water sprayed up as we broke the once calm and placid deep blue surface. The fires that were our bodies hissed and sizzled. The water was cold. I screamed in pain as my body seemed to break. The cold darkness of the ocean held me in suspense. I could not move. My arms and legs felt lifeless. I looked up at this foreign sky through the deepening darkness of the ocean and shuddered. I truly fell from heaven. The cold seemed to bite into me. The fires that were my essence flickered and started to fade. Even though I was not drowning, it seemed like my fire was. I felt something grab my leg roughly and pull me down. I tried to kick at it, but I was too weak. I screamed, but it was trapped in the thickness of the water. Besides, there was no one to help me or care, even if my scream was heard. I looked down and could not see what was pulling me. The deeper we got into the ocean, the darker it got. The weaker my flame became. I tried to claw at the water in hope to break free of whatever was dragging me down. I swung my arms frantically, trying to swim upwards. It was to no avail. Whatever had me was stronger than I could imagine and would not let go. The temperature dropped drastically. My flame was barely a visible glow in this cold darkness. The screams and curses of Iblis stopped, or maybe I could just no longer hear them. I decided to just give in to whatever fate awaited me. I no longer struggled. I no longer tried to break free of whatever was pulling me down. I gave in to it. There was nothing else I could do. I thought about begging and crying to Allah to forgive me, to accept me back. I no longer wanted to side with Iblis. If this was the fate of standing with Iblis, then I did not want it. But I knew it would be pointless. Allah was merciful, but I was banished. I would not be the naive, gentle soul that I once was. I had chosen my fate. I had chosen Iblis. I was no longer being pulled. I was so lost in my thoughts that I did not at first notice it. It was so dark down here that even the fading glow of my fire could barely be seen. I felt a cold, hard stone beneath my feet. I heard a deep feminine laughter as something chained my feet to the stone at the bottom of the ocean. "Who's there?" I asked. I was terrified. A cold chill ran down my spine. "You know me, Andrid. I am sorry that you have invoked the wrath of our Creator. May He one day have mercy upon you," a powerful but sweet female voice said. The sadness could be heard in every word she uttered. My mind was hazy as I tried to put a face or a name to the familiar voice. I did know her. She was the beautiful ebony-fleshed angel that brings the souls of mortals to their graves. She was Death. "Death?" I asked. She did not respond, but I could feel her staring at me through the darkness. "Death!" I screamed. I did not want to be alone. I did not want her to leave me here, chained in the cold darkness at the bottom of the ocean. She did not answer. I knew she had left me here. I could no longer feel her presence. My heart sank. "Allah!" I screamed. But my scream was no more than a gurgle, as it could not pierce the thick, cold, dark water. My only comfort was the soft glow of the fire that was my essence. I was not in complete darkness. As soon as I thought that my flame went out, I was no longer a djinn of smokeless fire. I was not even sure if I was alive or what I looked like. I was just here, in the darkness. "Iblis!" I tried to call my friend's name. I was so scared and filled with emotion, I could not find the strength to say it. I wept. Oh, give me a moment, reader. Even remembering this is painful for me. This part of my long existence was the darkest of it. I was chained down here for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Times passed differently for us. A day in paradise is hundreds of years on earth. Over those years, I changed in horrible ways. I was no longer the beautiful and rid of smokeless fire. I had become some pale, grotesque corpse. I was something out of the darkest nightmare. I became bitter and angry at our Creator. I hated our Creator and all of his creations. I hated Iblis. I wanted to destroy them all, starting with Adam. I had no sense of what was up or down here at the bottom of the ocean. All I knew was I looked in the direction I felt was up and stared at the darkness. If one could see me, they would shudder at this pale skeletal corpse whose red eyes were the only thing visible in the blackness. I cannot say for certain how long I was chained at the bottom of the ocean. Time had no meaning. The darkness seemed to seep into every part of me. At first, the darkness terrified me. I was born of fire, and my home was paradise. My entire life was light. Even if it was just the soft glow of the flames that was my body. Now even those flames were gone. After a while, creatures started to appear. It was an odd sight. After so long in darkness, it was strange to see life down here. Some of these creatures were beautiful, glowing lights that made the darkness bearable. I would see them and reach out to them, but they would flee from me. I don't blame them. I would flee from something as hideous as myself as well. After they would leave, I would weep. I would be plunged into the darkness again. The occasional screams of rage from Iblis could be heard. It shook the bottom of the ocean. I could not see him, nor any of the other thousands of jinn that fell with him. I wonder if our Creator could hear me down here, or if he just ignored my cries and pleadings for forgiveness. I have often thought of the choice I made to stand with Iblis. I regretted it as soon as I did it. I still wonder why I stood. I have always loved Iblis, but giving up paradise for him was never something I thought about. Maybe it was the thought of seeing something so beautiful in pain that drove my innocent heart to reach out to him. If this was the case, surely our Creator understood. A bright light in the darkness took me away from my thoughts. The only sanity in the dark, cold, endless dungeon was getting lost in my memories. My body was imprisoned by my mind, was still in the gardens of paradise. I blinked slowly. I have finally gone mad, I said to myself. The light got closer. It seemed like a bright ball of fire that floated through the darkness. Even though it was far away, I felt warmed by it. I watched it in a daze. I was waiting for the reality of it to hit and my mind to realize that this was a hallucination. But that did not come. As the light got closer, I started to see someone inside of it. He was beautiful, a beauty that rivaled even the beautiful Iblis. I remember this creature like it was just yesterday, even though it was eons ago. For he was a light in an existence that had been plunged into eternal darkness. His flesh was brown like that of Adam's. His hair was as dark as the darkness that surrounded me, but shined with a thick, curly beauty of its own. The creature did not smile as he approached. He looked disgusted by me. I, once glorious djinn of smokeless fire, now this pitiful, pale, shriveled thing. I covered my eyes, not only to shield them from his brightness, but from the look of disgust and contempt he bore me. "You are to be freed, disgraced one," the creature said. His voice boomed through the cold darkness. It seemed to awaken the entire ocean. Creatures that laid dormant in the blackness awakened and fled from him. His voice was the first actual voice I have heard. "Am I free?" I asked. My voice was raw and sounded like an abused and unused instrument. The only sounds that have escaped my throat have been my sobs. The creature did not answer. He floated to the huge chain that bound me to the bottom of the ocean. His hands seemed tiny in comparison to the chain. He yanked the chain from the ground with very little exertion. "Thank you," I stammered. As the creature floated up near me, his beautiful brown face inches from mine, he was so bright that I felt blinded. Even through my closed eyelids, my eyes still watered from his brightness. I was a creature who has been lost in the depths of the earth, without a shred of light. This creature before me was the sun. Although I wanted to see him, to feel his warmth upon my face, I could not. My flesh and heart were not ready. "Do not thank me, disgraced one. Thank our Creator," the creature said. The creature stared at me a moment, then turned from me. I could not open my eyes until he was far from me. He was no more than a speck of light fading in the darkness. I would not recognize who that was until eons later. He was a guardian of our Creator, one of his many warriors whose task was to watch over mankind. His fate would be one not too different than mine. He mocked me those eons ago. Now he is known as the Fallen One. He was Malaik. So arrogant he was, only to fall victim to the same immortal desires as the beautiful Iblis. I floated there in the waters for a moment. I did not want to believe that I was free. Maybe this was some trick, some added torture. I knew as soon as I tried to leave, the chain would stop me. I was like a wild animal that was captured and held in bondage for so long that even after it was freed, it no longer desired it. The fire of freedom long snuffed out. I stared at where the chain has bound me. I am not sure how long I stared. I eventually took a deep breath and found the courage to move from this spot that has been my home, my prison for too long to remember. I turned my back to it and swam upwards. The life that I saw as I swam was amazing. Our Creator had been busy. There were so many creatures in the waters that I lost count. They all shied away from me, almost as if they could tell that I was not mortal like them, that I was something foreign here, even though I had been at the bottom of this ocean before there was any life. As I swam, the waters began to change. They were no longer dark. I could see everything around me. I took a moment to look around. Was I back in paradise? Of course I was not. But the amount of life and light here was beautiful. I still had a while to go before I reached the surface. I looked at my hand and shuddered. My flesh was pale and slimy. It looked wrinkled and old. I was paler than anything natural. I was a ghoul, a living cadaver. I, one of the most beautiful of Allah's creations, was reduced to one of the foulest. I could not help the mortal chill that ran down my spine as I tried to look at more of my body. I was the same all over, pale and foul-looking. I was a creature of nightmares. I wept then. I placed my foul hands over my face and sobbed into them. "Oh, Iblis, you have cursed us all," I wept. I was curious as to what lay beyond the water. But I did not want to face it. I did not want anything to look upon me. I knew I could not stay here. I sighed deeply. Breathing in the water was like breathing in air to me. It made no difference what element I was in. I would survive it. I could breathe in fire just as easily as air. As I swam up more, the light got brighter. My eyes began to water. I blinked and squinted to see. There was something there above the water. It stared at me. It was beautiful. Oh, we jinns love beautiful things, no matter if it's an object or a being. If it was beautiful, we wanted to possess it. Many jinns have found their ruin trying to have beautiful mortals, to possess them and enjoy their flesh. But the breath of Allah in them always expels us and harms us. For some, it destroys us. I had to see what this beautiful being was, this thing that stared down at me. The water and bright light obscured my vision, but I swam faster and harder. I had to reach the surface. I did not want this creature to leave. I had to talk to it, to hold it and cherish it. The last beautiful thing to talk with me had been the guardian that freed me. Oh, how I longed to have a friend, to love once again. The surface of the water was getting nearer. I could feel the heat emanating from the world outside the ocean. I was near the surface now. It was so bright I could not see. The light even pierced through my closed eyelids. It burned me. I was about to flee from it and retreat to the soothing cold darkness. But a hand reached into the water and grabbed me. It pulled me from the waters and held me. I did not yet know what it was. My flesh seemed like it was on fire. I screamed in pain as the first rays of sunlight hit my flesh. There was no water to block or hinder it, just hot, unbridled fire. My flesh reddened and peeled away as it burned. I wanted to dive back into the waters and stay there forever. Was this beautiful place hell? I tried to break free of the creature that held me, but it wrapped me in its arms like I was a child. It rocked me and soothed me. "Oh, Andreed," I heard a familiar voice say. The voice was soothing and loving. Was it? could it be? Oh, beautiful Iblis had not forgotten me. Iblis! I gasped. I tried to open my eyes and gaze upon his beautiful face, but I could not. I felt him smile at me. Yes, Andrid, Iblis said. He wrapped me tighter in his arms. I have waited here and watched time pass for you, Iblis said. My beloved, foolish Iblis had waited an eternity here, staring into the ocean. He waited for me to be free. How long had he been free before me? I cannot say. I did not care. It felt good to be in his arms. I still gasped in pain as my flesh burned. I could smell the horrid smell of it. It did not seem to bother Iblis. Come, beloved. I have much to tell you, Iblis said. He started to run. I was able to open my eyes. Through the haze of tears and smoke from my flesh, I stared in wonder as Iblis ran across the surface of the water. As far as the eye could see was nothing but blue ocean. Iblis walked upon it like it was solid. Iblis was beautiful, but not the same. Gone was the beautiful dark fire that was his flesh. He was just as pale as I was. His skin was as polished as ivory. His hair was long, thick black curls that fell down his back. His eyes were dark ebony pools. He looked like Adam, but vastly different. Adam looked mortal. Iblis looked heavenly. I buried my head in Iblis's shoulder and wept. Iblis had not forgotten me.